this is kind of terrifying because now, Neil Young, he's a private guy. He can say whatever. He could be a crackpot who really cares until he actually physically starts hurting people, right? This is Biden's Surgeon General suggested that Joe Rogan should be censored. Let's just go through this article here. U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy. I want to pause this ad if I can. Vivek Murthy said Tuesday on MSNBC that not only the government but big tech companies have a role to play when it comes to censoring so-called misinformation and curating accurate information to the public. Now, I don't have the clip pulled up, but I know Press Secretary Jen Psaki has said that the administration is in communication with Facebook.
I heard she's going to circle back on that though.
She circled back and she clarified that the White House is in fact in communication with Facebook and other tech companies.
You know what I just did there, by the way? I circled back the circle back.
Yeah.
Nobody knew when that was going to come back, and I circled that bitch back. That's from a long time ago. So that's a circle back of a circle back.
Uh-huh.
You're welcome. Go ahead. Carry on.
Jen Psaki said that the White House is in communication with Facebook and other tech and Twitter.
Of course they are.
To, flag certain things as misinformation or whatever they're doing.
Twitter and Facebook have always been in league with
but now
the left.
Well,
or with the Dems, I should say, not the left.
Yeah, and the government in ways, one of the arguments is, make your own Twitter, but Twitter is very heavily subsidized.
You know what? Everybody kind of knew that they were a little bit, and it was fine. But the minute Trump got in and they started to censor his shit, and then they fucking kicked him right off, everybody knew where their flag laid. Yeah. Right? They were like, okay, they're with the Dems.
But this is straight up the government. Well, not this particular article is not necessarily getting into this, but Jen Psaki has basically admitted the government is colluding with corporations to spread propaganda, to censor, people and sort of.
It's not how they say it, obviously.
Pick and choose which information gets into your ears, whether or not you want it.
I love it. It's like we're fucking stupid. You have to do that for us. Oh, listen, thank you, government, for telling me what I can and can't watch, and what I can and can't hear, what goes into my sensitive ears, what my stupid brain doesn't know how to perceive as maybe not correct information. Thank you. Bunch of dumbasses.
And a lot of people they have that almost that mindset. They won't verbalize it that way, but they will act exactly in that way. It's so weird to see.
It's like we've said this before. It's the NPCs, right? It's just a lot of people don't want to fight, and they're just like, oh, we'll just go along with it. And you spoon feed them shit, and it doesn't taste like shit right away. It tastes a little shitty, and they go, I can eat this.
Yeah. But
they don't know they're eating full on shit.
Yeah, it's kind
of like when you're feeding a baby and you're trying to get the baby to eat peas or something, and it doesn't want to eat the peas, but you put a little bit of fucking strawberries on there or something, and it tastes the strawberry first.
That it tastes good, and they go
that
for
too.
It. Yeah,
but it's more like when you put the little bit of strawberry on there and you go put it in their mouth, they taste the strawberry right away, and they go, "What the fuck was the rest of that?"
Yeah,
that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing with this.
But so I guess he was asked, what do you think are the best ways to push back on misinformation about COVID that continues to be aggressively pushed, whether it be Joe Rogan's podcast or all over Facebook? The host asked Murthy, according to the place. We can have the best science available. We can have the best public health expertise available. It won't help people. If they don't have access to accurate information, the Biden-appointed Surgeon General answered, adding, people have the right to make their own decisions, but they also have the right to have accurate information to make that decision with. Big tech companies, Murthy said, have an important role to play since they are the predominant places where we're seeing misinformation spread. It's not just about what the government can do, he emphasized. This is about companies and individuals recognizing that the only way to get past misinformation is if we are careful about what we say and use the power that we have to limit the spread of misinformation.
Back in the day, if you read something on the back of, say, a Hustler fucking magazine, right? It was just on the back of a Hustler, some kind of bullshit thing, or an Inquirer or something, right? You read something in the Inquirer magazine, a lot of people would know what that is, maybe more so than Hustler. But you read something there, you'd go, okay, I'm just going to take this with a grain of salt. Like, this is most likely bullshit, right? And then you read something conversely on, say, a government website. You'd go, well, I'm going to take that as truth because that came off the government website, right? Back in the day. Because, one, they had control over the information a lot better. But number two,
you didn't know.
But we all had this idea, as people that, okay, there's credible sources and there's not credible sources, but we want the not credible sources around too. Like, we're not going to stop the Inquirer from putting bullshit out or Hustler from putting bullshit on the back of the magazine. We're just smart enough to go, that's just stupid, and that's in that magazine, so it's probably junk. The problem is now these assholes have been trying to catch up with social media and shit because really people got the jump on them. It's the same with, like, we were talking about Bitcoin and shit. Mm-hmm. People got the society got the jump on the government with social media. So they were able to get their information out there
fast enough,
right? And so now it's like they're hyper trying to control it, and they want to get rid of all these people that have had enough time on the internet and have built enough audiences, like a Joe Rogan, because they've been putting out good information, whether you agree with it or not. But they've just been putting out information that's legit information from both sides and all sides.
Expert opinions,
right? Expert opinions.
People who know what they're talking about,
right? So now they're just trying to crush all this shit.
This,
and it's so evident to everybody. We know they're doing it, and like, I don't know how they think they're gonna get away with it. They think it's just gonna go down without a fight. Like, you know what happened with Biden's vaccine mandate.
Yeah, it got shot down.
Yeah, it got shot down.
Unconstitutional.
Yeah, and the Daily Wire was one of the big proponents against it, and they were one of the big people in the fight too, right? Ben Shapiro.
Because they weren't going to do it.
What's that?
Because they weren't
going to do it, right? But I don't know how they think this shit is just going to wash through. Like, we're all just going to go, oh, yeah, no problem. Because it's not going to happen. What I hope, though, is that they don't start to change small laws or implement small bills or these different things that pave the way to change the big stuff. You know, and that's what's kind of happening. You don't, like, Bill 162 or something. Nobody knows what the fuck is in the bill. And then there's this little part in the bill that's this thing. And
usually it's a massive bill. It'll be hundreds of pages.
Hundreds,
no one reads
thousands.
And they just,
sometimes
thousands. And they just put little things in there that just...
Right. And then they agree on the whole bill and they get this bullshit.
And then you have now, this is such a big deal because now we have kind of relevant government figures advocating for censorship. They're advocating, to cut out the tongue of a private citizen who exists in a meritocratic environment. Like, it's so weird. Like, if we go back down to, you give people a platform to counter what he's spewing or the guests that he's having on. You have to do something to mitigate that. It's like, this guy, I don't know, he's almost admitting that his ideas lose in the marketplace of ideas.
Yeah.
Right? So he's saying you have to really push down the alternatives because
nobody's going to listen to
no one's going to listen to us because we don't have good points.
Right.
They have better points than us, so we got to press down on these guys.
Do you think they're killing themselves? Like, do you think they're fighting too big of a giant at this point? Do you think they're taking on a whale?
Joe Rogan?
Like, no, I mean, like, the government's taking on a whale.
No, but like Joe Rogan's the whale.
That's what I mean. He's the whale. Like, if they'd done this with smaller entities, let's say, and then built the sort of track up, then they might have been able to take on the whale. But at this point, they're trying to chew on a whale.
Yeah.
And I think he's got too much support. And even people that don't necessarily support him, I think would support his right. Yeah. So that you'd have a ton of people who'd be like, fuck you. Of course he can.
Yeah, Joe Rogan's becoming the face of like a unwillingly...
freedom fighter face, yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't want it. He doesn't want that moniker.
But he's doing a good job by having the conversation. I think he personally understands how important it is to have the conversations. You have all these people on who have different opinions. He had the CNN guy on, and the CNN guy made a fool of himself. So it's like...
And Joe's even really nice about it when he talks about him too. He always he says he's a great guy.
He won't let people talk shit about
exactly.
Gupta. It's actually kind of weird because I think what he did by going on, was it Don Lemon's show and saying, basically after being on Joe Rogan, going on Don Lemon's show, so oh yeah, it is horse medicine, yeah, it is dangerous or whatever. It's like,
yeah, that's
such a stab in the back. It's so insane.
That's the thing about Rogan, right? He's a fair guy. Like that. If I were to describe him in one word, and I had to pick a word, it'd be fair. I'd say he's just a fair guy. He's not gonna let you get away with bullshit, but he's also not gonna let someone else get away with bullshit about you either. Like he just paints it with the brush that's appropriate. If he's talking to someone like Gupta, Gupta's a brilliant surgeon apparently, or something. I don't know. He's
some kind of doctor.
He's a medical doctor of some sort. I think he's a surgeon or something. But apparently he's very, very good. He just happens to be linked in with CNN. Unfortunately, that's gonna tarnish his name a bit in that regard.
Especially now,
right?
But siding with CNN constantly. If he came out and was like what he did on Rogan, oh, they shouldn't have said that. They shouldn't say that. Like that all goes out the window when you go back on and you agree with them for saying that thing. But if you push back a little bit, that gives you a little bit of credibility. I can't
blame him really. We talked about this in another podcast before. I say when you start to mess with someone's money bone, you know what I mean? Like I can't blame him. He's basically trying to placate to both sides. He's having a fight though. There's a moral fight going on inside because when he's on Joe Rogan, talking to Joe Rogan,
there's a moral
feel
fight.
like he wants to. You feel like he wants to say, "Yeah, you're right. You're fucking right." CNN is,
but he's got someone in his ear saying, "Hey,
we pay you.
Look at how many zeros are on this check.
Yeah,
hey,
yeah, we pay you.
You like
Shut
that,
the
don't
fuck
you?
Up. Yeah,
you got a nice house.
Yeah.
I've seen the car you drive to work. You like that, don't you? Your kid goes to Harvard. Mm-hmm. You like that life, right?" Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Yeah, I do. I like that life. That's a nice life." So he takes that check and he's like, "All right, play nice."
And you can't hate on him because he's got a family. He's got people to think about. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like maybe this isn't. Yeah. I don't know him to say that he's a selfish fuck. It depends. Or any of that shit. I'm just looking at it from a very outward perspective. And
I think at a certain point you can call him a. It depends how much money.
I don't want to take that stance
because he has.
I don't want to take that stance because I don't know him and I don't know what his motivations are or anything like that. Yeah. All I can do is just look at like the information that's presented. I think he's aligned with the wrong organization. But I mean, maybe some of his thoughts line up with them too, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I think it's a stupid thing to say that he's not intelligent. He's a very intelligent guy. So like for me to say that just because I disagree with his stance on something.
Oh yeah, no, that's.
I mean,
that's ridiculous.
I wanted him when I saw he was on Rogan. I was like so excited because I thought, oh cool, man. Like I wanted him to be better. Like I wanted it to be like a move, but it wasn't. I think it was more like CNN sending a mule in to collect information or something, or I don't know. I don't know what their deal was with it. Like what they thought they were going to get out of it.
Yeah, maybe attention. Maybe a reason, like what they did, a reason to grandstand about how they tried to do the right thing and convince Joe Rogan that he had to, get vaccinated, even though,
Maybe they're just grasping at straws at this point because they know the ship's fucking sinking.
They absolutely are. They have no idea what's going on. They've
like
lost.
They're hitching. They're doing what we do.
Yeah,
they're hitching their fucking
they've
ship.
completely lost. Like they compared to Joe Rogan, they're nothing. Mm-hmm. They get, they don't get nearly the amount of views that Joe Rogan gets. Joe Rogan is the mainstream, and they're trying to desperately hold on to it. And as they're losing it, or as they're realizing that they've lost it, now it's like the government's coming out and saying, "Yeah, we need to censor Joe Rogan." It's like, why is that? Well, it's getting into conspiracy, deep state stuff, and power, and all that jazz. But that's deep. That's a 2.5 hour conversation in and of itself.